Have you hugged your teenager lately, only to have him pull away? As our boys grow, the way they receive love changes, and it can leave us wondering what we're doing wrong. But it's not that they don't need affection, it just looks different now. In today's episode, we're talking about physical touch and how to show love to your teen son in a way he'll actually receive it. Welcome to Raising Boys with Purpose, a Christian parenting podcast for moms raising teens and young adult sons. I'm Brooke, a boy mom and parenting coach, and here we talk about raising sons, building character, and preparing our boys for adulthood with confidence and faith. Now, before we jump in, if you're looking for a community of moms who are learning how to raise boys into young men, I'd love to invite you to join us in the Raising Boys with Purpose Facebook group. It's a space for encouragement, real conversation, and support, because you're not meant to figure this out alone. So, have you ever watched teen boys or even grown men roughhouse, shove each other, or play around and wondered why? What we might see as something that could lead to someone getting hurt is often actually a form of connection, even affection. Now, does that mean we need to start roughhousing with them to show love? No. But it does mean we need to pay attention to the type of physical touch they respond to and the timing of it. As moms, we're watching our boys grow into young men. And with that comes the joy and sometimes the ache of realizing that the affection they once wanted has changed. And now we have to learn how to change with it. I remember when I would come home from college and watch how my younger brother interacted with my parents. I'd be gone for months at a time, so the change in him would feel almost sudden. Between each visit, he seemed to grow, both physically and personally. One thing I noticed was that he didn't seem to like hugs anymore. I had a tendency to roughhouse with him a little, and he was usually fine with that. But when my mom would go to hug him, I'd sometimes see him shy away or shrug her off, especially if his friends were around. I could tell it hurt her, even though she tried not to show it. At the time, I didn't fully understand what was happening, but I remember thinking, the timing feels off. And I noticed that he acted differently when it was just our family. Later, after I had boys of my own, I found myself thinking back to those moments and paying closer attention to how my boys wanted to receive affection. Now, physical touch is important at every age. It's a powerful way to communicate love and emotion. And for some boys, it's their primary love language. But as our sons grow, they change. They're stepping into young adulthood, and they want to be seen as young men, not little boys. So we have to adjust with them. First, let's talk about what they're going through. Adolescence is a season of growth, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and in independence. Think back to when your son was a toddler, and suddenly he wanted to do everything on his own. Well, welcome to the teen years. They're stepping into another level of independence, and our role is to love them, guide them, and sometimes just to step back, allowing them space while still staying connected. So how do we support that independence and still meet their need for affection? First, we start by recognizing that their need for physical touch hasn't disappeared. It's just changed. They still want our love, but now we have to be more thoughtful about when, where, and how. And this is something I hear often from other moms too. Just noticing that shift and not always knowing what to do with it. It's a conversation we can have inside the Raising Boys with Purpose community, because so many of us are walking through the same stage in different ways. So let's start with when. Like I mentioned with my brother, timing matters. Many teen boys don't want physical affection in front of their friends. They don't want to feel like they're being seen as a child. They also may not want to be touched when they're angry. In those moments, physical touch can feel more like control than comfort, and that challenges their sense of independence. So instead of taking that personally, we could shift our focus. Pay attention to their mood. If they're sad or something hasn't gone their way, they may be more open to comfort. When they're proud or celebrating a win, they may also be more receptive. Our job is to observe, adjust, and follow their lead. Okay, let's talk about where. Most of the time, our sons will be more comfortable receiving physical affection at home, around immediate family. Even with extended family, we may need to be mindful. And if others are around, especially peers, it's often best to hold back unless they initiate it. They're learning how to be seen as young men, and they need that space to grow into that identity. And finally, how. This is where it can really vary from boy to boy. I remember when my boys hit a stage where they got taller than me, and they just started picking me up off the floor, like literally off the floor. They thought it was hilarious. They would do it to me, to their grandma. I'd protest, they'd laugh. But I realized that was their way of showing affection. So I took it. Sometimes it's a quick hug and a pat on the back, a touch on the arm. If they're not feeling well, maybe they'll sit close to you on the couch. And every once in a while, you might still get that hug. But the key is this: they're forming their identity. So if they tell us they don't like a certain type of touch, we need to respect that. And we should support them in setting those boundaries, even with other family members. So Mama, don't worry. This season will shift again. It just might take some time. In the meantime, one of the powerful things we can do is stay connected and keep the conversation open. Not right after they pushed you away, but later, maybe in the car when things feel more relaxed. You don't need to tell him you're hurt or that it makes you sad. Just tell him you love him. Let him know you've noticed that the way he receives affection has changed, and ask him what he feels comfortable with for now. He might say he doesn't know, and that's okay. You've planted a seed. You've shown him that you care and that you respect him. And over time, the door stays open. Now, if you'd like to continue these conversations with other moms who understand exactly what this season feels like, I'd love to have you inside the Raising Boys with Purpose Facebook group. You don't have to figure this out alone. We're building strong foundations for our sons together. If this episode of Raising Boys with Purpose encouraged you, please like this video and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes of this podcast. And if you're raising a teen or young adult son and want encouragement and practical guidance, come join us in the Raising Boys with Purpose Facebook community. The link is below. Thanks for being here today. Now grab your iced coffee, hug your son, and remember, you're raising him with purpose.